They praise your self-discipline, your focus, your drive, the way you never give up, even when every cell inside you screams to stop. You smile, you nod, you pretend the praise fits, but underneath, a quiet envy hums, because you know what no one else sees, that your fire doesn't warm you, it burns you alive. You know that feeling of hitting almost, but never enough, of building something beautiful, then silently tearing it down, of seeing your reflection in someone's admiration and feeling a flicker of disgust, of watching yourself walk away from love, safety, and success, then whispering, "I knew it was too good to last." That's the paradox, isn't it? You ache for freedom, yet you keep obeying invisible chains. Self-sabotage isn't random. It's a ritual, a code etched in childhood, running quietly in the background of your adult life. And no matter how many books, resolutions, or mantras you recite, the system restores itself, because the program believes it's protecting you. This script was written when you were too small to fight back. It told you, if you make yourself small, you'll survive. If you please others, they won't abandon you. If you succeed too much, you'll be punished for shining. Embracing that you are both strong and vulnerable can help your audience accept their contradictions without shame. Your body remembers what your mind forgets. Your nervous system carries this script like heat trapped in the skin. Every time you reach for joy, your pulse quickens, like it's in danger. Every time you love without armor, you sweat with dread. And when you pull away, you blame motivation, timing, or fate, never quite hearing the faint whisper underneath. Don't change, don't grow, you'll lose control. That is the hidden childhood script, the secret author behind every collapse. Not a failure of discipline, a failure of permission, not weakness, but conditioning. You weren't born broken. You were trained to associate peace with punishment, love with sacrifice, achievement with exposure. Your body still believes it's safer in struggle, and until you rewrite that inner code, you'll keep finding new ways to reenact the same old wound over and over, just to prove the script right. Self-sabotage doesn't mean you hate yourself. It means an older, quieter part of you still believes safety lives inside limitation. That part was built in fire, literal or emotional, and fire changes everything it touches. You didn't forget the burns. You adapted to them, and that adaptation became identity. Your nervous system confuses comfort with risk. Joy feels foreign. Pain feels like home. So instead of chasing what soothes you, you chase what you recognize. It's why you stay in the argument long after words turn to knives, or why silence feels unbearable, because peace feels like the pause before impact. Outside, you call it preference. Inside, it's pattern recognition gone rogue. The dark twist. You build your entire life around the wound, and call it personality. The identity loop. You act according to who you believe you are, not who you could become. The brain seeks confirmation more than transformation. So if your inner script says, "I'm the burden," you'll scan life for proof. You'll attract people who reinforce it. You'll sabotage the ones who don't. Your mind will twist reality to match the prophecy. Change threatens the fragile self that kept you alive, and so you protect the very cage you wish to escape. The reward, reversal. As a child, approval was the currency of survival. So now, when no one's watching, you lose traction. You drift. You stole. Your dopamine depends on external permission. Your body goes cold when praise disappears. Outside, it looks lazy. Inside, it's withdrawal. The dark twist. You crave freedom but only feel alive in captivity. The guilt of growth. Every step forward triggers phantom alarms. Who are you to outgrow what your family, your teachers, and your old self couldn't? Survivor's guilt, disguised as failure. Your success feels like betrayal to the younger you who suffered, so you unconsciously shrink, sabotage, and reset to stay loyal to your own pain. You mistake endurance for nobility, but it's just grief rehearsed. These are not flaws. They're adaptations, but adaptation is a memory pretending to be a personality. And you've mistaken memory for truth. Control addiction. When chaos shaped your childhood, power became the antidote. You learned early. If you predict everything, you can't be blindsided again. So you micromanage tomorrow to survive yesterday. Your muscles tense before the thought even lands. Your jaw tightens. Breath shortens. It's not ambition. It's hypervigilance. In disguise. Outside, people see discipline. Inside, it's a fear. You plan not to prepare, but to preempt pain. And the dark twist, the more you control, the less alive you feel. Because control kills spontaneity, and spontaneity is where intimacy hides. You can't connect deeply when you're scanning for threats. You can't rest when silence feels like danger. So you live alert, wide-eyed, exhausted, mistaking anxiety for awareness. Emotional starvation. You learned love as a transaction. Affection arrived when you performed, vanished when you needed it. So now, as an adult, you ration softness. Like currency, you give care easily but choke when it's returned. Your nervous system mistrusts nourishment. It waits for the catch. That slow panic under your ribs when someone's kind. That's your body expecting that. Outside, it looks like independence. Inside, it's deprivation, so normalized it feels noble. And here's the cruel twist. Starving for love gives you a feeling of control. Needing nothing means no one can hurt you. But numbness is not peace. It's frostbite. Every act of sabotage is self-protection gone feral. Each defense was once intelligence. But what saved you then is suffocating you now. And still, your body clings to old logic. Fire equals safety, because the cold once killed you. The irony is brutal. You've outgrown the threat, but not the strategy. There's a moment every survivor meets in silence, when the actual costs of the old scrib finally outweighs its comfort. It doesn't feel heroic. It feels like grief, not the tearful kind, something quieter. The ache of realizing you built yourself around an absence. The strange mourning for the person you never allowed to exist. You don't just lose time to self-sabotage. You lose possibility, wonder, and softness. Each collapse rewires your nervous system to trust pain more than peace. You begin to crave what hurts because it feels familiar. And slowly, you become a ghost in your own story. Alive, but uninhabited. It shows up in patterns. The almost pattern. You bring ideas to the very edge of completion, then vanish. Safety and almost failure with proof. The rescue loop. You attract broken partners to fix, because saving them quiets the part of you still begging to be saved. The crisis pulse. Calm feels empty. You invent chaos, just to feel alive, with movement. The disappearing act. When intimacy deepens, you pull away, blaming timing or space. Never fear. Demarcher roll. You give endlessly. Not from abundance, but from avoidance. So no one notices how hollow you feel. The mirror mask. You adapt to whoever's in front of you until you forget who you are when you're alone. The achievement hangover. You chase one goal after another, then feel empty when it's done. Because you never truly wanted success. You wanted permission to stop trying. The emotional minimalist. You understate your needs to appear effortless, carefree. But ease becomes erasure. The apology reflex. You say sorry when you breathe too loudly, because taking space was once a punishable act. And then the line hits. The quiet truth Kierkegaard whispered. Centuries ago, the most painful state of being is remembering the future, particularly one you can never have. That's the grief sitting beneath your patterns. Not regret. It's mourning the unlived life. What you call self-sabotage is really self-abandonment. Rehearse since childhood. You inherited a map, drawn by fear, and mistook it for destiny. Healing doesn't begin with forgiveness. It starts with truth. Not the grand kind, but the microscopic ones. The tiny admissions that sting when spoken. Micro-truths. I'm lonely. I'm scared to stop struggling. I don't know how to feel safe without control. Each one cracks the armor. Each one makes space for air, because you don't heal by discovering new power, you heal by letting go of old lies. Wholeness isn't created, it's remembered. The child you used to be never truly disappeared. They just went underground, waiting for permission to return. Their voice comes through the tremor before a decision, through the lump in your throat when someone wants to love you, through the inexplicable guilt when life finally feels calm. That's the inner child saying, "Is it safe yet?" And for the first time, it could be. Safety is not a gift, it's a skill. You build it moment by moment. By noticing your body instead of escaping it. By letting the ache exist without needing to fix it. By reminding your nervous system that peace is not a trap. This is shadow work in motion. Not about destroying darkness, but integrating it. Carl Jung wrote, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. You make it conscious every time you stay present when the script urges withdrawal. Every time you tell the truth a little sooner. Every time you stop performing and start listening. Healing is not a finish line. It's the quiet courage of staying when it's uncomfortable. Staying when your body screams old warnings. Staying long enough for the fire to become light, because the same fire that once burned you can now warm you if you stop running from it. Healing truly begins to deepen when you choose the end. You stop living in the sharp edges of either or. You learn that love can be safe and unpredictable. You can be angry and tender. You can grieve and grow. The end is freedom, the bridge between survival and soul. Most self-sabotage stems from false choices made too young. Be useful or be abandoned. Succeed or stay human. Stay small or lose love. When you start answering life with the old binaries collapse. Integration feels nothing like perfection. It's messy, sore, awkward. It's the tremble in your chest as your new reality slowly replaces the old one cell by cell. Some days, you'll feel regression. Others, revelation. Both mean you are alive inside the process. The past isn't erased. It's re-included. You stop exiling pieces of yourself just because they once hurt you. You learn to sit with your own contradictions without labeling them as sins. Because you're no longer chasing purity, you're cultivating wholeness. And that wholeness whispers into your relationships, too. Not every connection survives your healing. When you stop playing assigned roles, some people lose their script. That's not failure, it's truth, revealing who can meet you now. Ask yourself quietly, who do I become when someone stops needing me? Who am I when I'm no longer performing to be loved? Which relationships feel like breathing, and which feel like holding your breath? Whose presence feeds expansion, and whose keeps you rehearsing an apology? These questions don't demand immediate answers, they create space for them to arrive. Healing asks for discomfort, but it gives you back existence. Not the polished version. The real one. You're allowed to be fully human. Not the productivity version. Not the unbothered persona. Just the breathing, grieving, becoming thing that you are. You've spent years editing yourself for safety, cutting softness into silence, cutting brilliance into bite-sized pieces so no one chokes on your light. But that's over now. Your body can rest. Wholeness was never the absence of pain. It's the permission to feel without self-punishment, to stand in front of the mirror and not flinch, to let life touch you again without translating it into performance. You don't have to earn your worth by surviving elegantly. You don't have to keep rehearsing collapse to prove you've tried. The old script demanded struggle. The new one writes peace as proof of power. And there's no deadline on this. You don't wake up healed. You wake up honest. You wake up with awareness instead of amnesia. You stop running because you finally realized there was never anywhere to run from. Let this be the moment you stop negotiating for your own belonging. Let it be the quiet revolution where you decide to keep yourself. Not because life is easy, but because it's yours. Healing isn't about becoming the light. It's about becoming real. And real is enough. Real is radiant. Real is free. If these words stirred something inside you, stay with it. Don't rush past the ache. Let it settle. Let it whisper. It's not weakness. It's remembering. If you want more content that goes this deep into the psychology behind your patterns and the quiet contracts you never knew you signed, like and share this with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't have to walk this kind of inner work alone. The goal is not to fix you. The goal is to finally let you be whole.